G'day and welcome everyone to this week's Rossoneri Roundup. This week we've got the privilege of chatting to Faye from Milan Club Dublin. How's it going, Faye?
Pretty good. Thanks for having us on.
Yeah, no worries. A privilege. We're good mates with a lot of the guys from the Milan Club Dublin, so good to chat to one of you.
Yeah, no, it's always good to go on to, the various different Milan clubs have like the podcast and stuff like that. And this is my first time obviously being on an Australian one, so it's great to get going.
Yeah, and probably in terms of accents, maybe the Irish accent might be a little bit harder than the Aussie one, but I think equally we're a bit misunderstood around the world.
It's fine. We can subtitle and post if people don't get me.
Yeah, we can understand each other probably at least, so that's all that matters today. Anyway, look, the Milan Club Dublin, from what we see in Melbourne, is probably one of like the biggest Milan clubs going around the world. In particular your merch, which I can see you're wearing the top there, and the graphics, and like you guys do an absolutely amazing job. But before we delve too far into that, we should probably speak a little bit about why you actually support Milan from Dublin.
Yeah, well, thanks for the ego boost. I'll be sure to push that back into everybody else in the club. Yeah, I suppose like I would have started supporting Milan when I was growing up. So, early 2000s kind of first memories of AC Milan. And obviously quite a successful period coming into the prime of the Berlusconi era. But it would have been around the time in Ireland when some leagues like the Premier League would have gone pay-per-view. So it wouldn't have been the most accessible thing. Like most of the matches you'd be able to watch, but the big ones would be behind the paywall, maybe, or starting to be behind the paywall. But you would still be able to watch quite a lot of Serie A matches. And they didn't have like the crowd muted or anything like that. So the volume wasn't down, so you could get like the atmosphere and everything. And I suppose it was a combination of, well, I can't watch this football, I can watch this football. Seems like the crowd are having a good time. And then you just start spotting players like, obviously, Maldini, Shevchenko, Kaká coming through as you get closer and closer up into 2005, 2007. And I suppose it's just getting an admiration for those kind of players and the team and the way we played at the time was very exciting. And that's kind of how I got into it. Obviously, then discovered Milan Club Dublin a few years ago and have been going ever since with them.
Yeah, right. Interesting that you say about that it was easier to watch than the Premier League, because from our perspective here in Melbourne, it's this season at least, there was a good period where it looked like we weren't even going to have any broadcasting rights available. So
yeah, it's been a bit difficult or kind of like dodgy for a few places. I think Canada wasn't sure for quite a while, and then they got a package in. Like even over here, we know it was either going to be, we have Premier Sports, or it was going to be BT Sports, and it wasn't until I think 2 days before the first game, I was kind of like, wait, which channel actually has the match? And I think like the Coppa Italia rights on a different channel and stuff like that. But even like beyond like the men's team, like the feminine team, like we can't watch that over here. And like we'd be quite big fans of it. Like we love the team, but it's one of them things that was difficult to find to watch previously, and now that it's even more difficult, just like, well, what are you gonna do? But it was a lot easier, in the early 2000s. Kind of like we had like an Irish national sports broadcast, or Setanta Sports it was called, and they would just show like random stuff. So they would have like NHL hockey, and then they would just have like nights of Serie A. So it was great.
Yeah. Well, to be honest, the Serie A is it's the best league around, and I still maintain it's the best league. Particularly in those 2000s days. So I kind of grew up around that time as well. So I can kind of definitely relate to that. Some of the players that were coming through. Obviously, we kind of went through, as they say, the banter era where we maybe the good times didn't flow so frequently. And we did kind of cop a bit of that. But across all of your watching time, are there, let's say maybe like 2 or 3 players that really stand out to you that that you really have liked?
I mean, like if I can't, because in my head there's ones that are like obvious, Like,
Yeah.
Maldini is the obvious one, so I'd almost rule him out immediately, being like, oh, we know
Yeah.
he's. Same with the likes of like Shevchenko and Kaká. I'm kind of like, well, we know, and like Dida, like we know they're fine. Players that kind of stand out to me, Bonaventura. I was a big fan of Bonaventura. His work ethic. We have a framed signed Bonaventura jersey in the Woolshed, which is the Australian bar and grill that we go to for all of our matches. So we have one of them hung up. Big fan of Bonaventura. He's such a nice lad. I was always upset that he didn't get his final game in front of a crowd, obviously like pandemic and stuff. That's always upsetting, like seeing him leave the pitch after all that work, just empty. I say Bonaventura is one of them. I'd probably have to pick someone from the current team. And I'm such a big fan of Calabria. I absolutely adore Davide. Like, he just, the passion that he has, and you see the photos of him like as a young fella in the Milan kits, and you're just like, you can't not love him, you know? Those are two big ones, I would say.
Hey, you know one player that you can very easily not love, that you can also find photos early on in Milan kit. Our good friend Gigio Donnarumma. I don't know what the perspective in Dublin is on him, but I can say in Melbourne it's not very good.
It, like, again, like I wouldn't want to push an agenda or anything like that like on behalf of like the club, but for me personally, I'm not going to swear, but you like bleep him, you know. No, I despise him. I absolutely despise him. And a part of that comes with the package of Mino Raiola, and it's kind of like, if you look at the players that we have that work with him, Eber does his own deals. Romanoli, it's kind of like he's not high profile enough to be an issue. And plus, we have other players in that role, that's fine. But like Donnarumma, and I know there was the controversy of him being booed at the Italian game, and I was almost like, I don't understand how people can be upset about that. Like, what do you expect? And then some of the commentary that came afterwards, and some of the comparisons to other incidences of abuse in football, is kind of like, he got a few whistles. He's a big boy. You know, he does what Mino tells him, as he says. He can get on with it. You know, we have Mike now. We don't care.
To be honest, I'm surprised that the Curva didn't turn on him more than what they could have, because he looking back, he caused a lot of heartache, I guess, for fans. A lot of unnecessary discussions and concerns. But anyway, that's we always say that's a whole podcast in itself. The Gigio scandal.
That's a whole therapy session waiting to happen.
It really is. You mentioned I knew that you went to the Woolshed because I see all of your amazing social media posts and everything from the club. I didn't realize it was an Australian bar.
Yeah, well,
that's real. Yeah.
And there's two of them in Ireland. Like, we have one in Dublin and there's one in Cork. So like, if you're down in Cork and like you want to watch a Milan game, we usually have a few people there as well. You know, so I know it's like Milan Club Dublin, but we do have people all around kind of the country.
There you go. There might be a bit of a collab between us and you guys at the Woolshed. Who knows? Keep your eyes on that one. I guess that flows pretty well into just having a chat about the Milan Club Dublin. Viewers or listeners mightn't. I'm sure they've heard of it, but might not know the specifics about the club. So yeah, can you tell us a little bit about what your main events are, who are your supporters, members, all of that kind of stuff?
Well, I suppose like if you go back to like the beginning, the club started like officially as an AIMC like registered club like around 2014, I think. And it was because our current president, Fabio Prente, I think he was it might have been the Woolshed or somewhere in Dublin, and we just lost to, I believe it was like Sassuolo, and it was like a bad loss, and it was really kind of like it's not great kind of sitting here in misery by yourself. Like, misery loves company. Like, it's great celebrating with other people, but when you're losing, you need people around you, and it was kind of born out of that. And there's kind of nice Italian community in Dublin as well, so it was quite good. So we've been going since 2014, so we're about 7.5 years old now. And we've been just going from strength to strength. You know, at the moment, we're regularly hitting about 100, just over 100 members. regular trips over the games. Obviously, you know, the big one would have been Liverpool back for the first time in Champions League, and it was amazing. Like so many people coming over asking for tickets and like, you know, trying to sort everything. And we had like membership packs, we had like photos, and just really nice. But I suppose like some of the stuff we do apart from like the obvious things of game trips, so we would watch every game in the Woodshed in Dublin. Few beers, bit of food. We're a big fan of singing. So like when if anybody's ever in there and you kind of like don't know what's happening and you're just there and the usual ale, ale, like we really like it. It can be a bit disarming if you're not into football and you're just there for food. So we watch all the games. We do big events, so the derby would be a big event. We would do like some free food, some free beer and stuff like that with a local brewery like Dublin Blue or something. And yeah, I don't know, it's just great crack. Like one of the events that we had planned pre-COVID, we were going to have Sebastiano Rossi come over and just do a bit of a talk, do some pictures and stuff like that. I think it might have been last year, we had the Champions League from 2007 come over, and it came in like a big metal box with like security, and we got it out and we did like a huge photo opportunities and stuff like that. So we do a lot of kind of like exciting things. We do a charity 5-a-side every year, obviously not in recent times. And we do that with like other Italian supporters clubs, so like Inter, Juve, Torino, and then like Barcelona, Dublin. So really kind of involved in the kind of football community of Dublin, and obviously, you know, more involved in the Milan community elsewhere.
Yeah, that's unreal to hear. I know my first exposure to the club was in Milan at the Derby in 2019. Lucky enough to meet some Milan Club Dublin legends, Mike, Colin, Derek. So met all of them. And I can definitely vouch for what you said about how you guys like to have a good time, because it was definitely. I mean, in terms of the game, it was a pretty crappy game, 2-0 against them, but we still had fun, and it's my only San Siro match that I've been to. So but it's great to see that you guys kind of wherever there's big games, you guys pack the bags and go and
we
watch
do
it.
we do our best to go. Like like we've been to most of the games so far this season. Like we've been to both of the Champions League games. Mike was over for the Atletico game, which obviously better result, but great crack. There was a big squad of us headed over to the Porto game at San Siro, I think. So if anybody's going there, keep a lookout for the logo. You'll always see us just walking around, just kind of slapping stickers and everything, and we'll have our flags out. So we do like to get over for games. But like even like if people can't get over the games, you know, we are there again in Dublin for people to just want to sit down, want to watch the match, and have a bit of crack. Like that derby that you were on about there, the 4-2 loss. There was like in the Woodshed, we have like the private room upstairs where they usually have like NFL games on for the Americans, and like half of the room was like red and black and half of the room was like blue and black. So we are right next to Inter fans, and it was great fun. Like we would score, you get the chance, and then they would score and you get it back, and like there was like no tension, no hassle, like a bit of elbow bump and fun, you know. Like even like when you're again losing, winning, just have a bit of fun.
And it was that you spoke about the Dublin banner. That was very proudly hung up held up when I was there. And I mean we the kind of the Milanista everyone knows about, they go in their packs to games. But from what I've seen, it kind of seems like Dublin's next up there in terms of going to watch matches and get people around. So
that's a big compliment.
You make it work.
I'm gonna use that. I do wear it, and I'm gonna use that. I'm just gonna have that in the bio now.
Please do, go for it.
Like it is like we do like to kind of make people feel welcomed, even if we are abroad. Like, and people come up and they like they recognize like the skull, the cranio, you know, and they recognize the t-shirts and the scarves, and can I get a picture? Like, absolutely, get a picture. You want to get a drink with us? Get a drink with us. You know, want to hang out? Absolutely, we're there. Like I'm a Milan fan, you're more than welcome to come up to us, even if we don't know you. You spot us at San Siro or anywhere else, come up to us, start and chat to us. Same online. Interested in membership? You want to just chat to us about things? We're there, you know.
Yeah. Again, linking back, I got some valuable content from out of Mike about how possibly to get into the Curva Sud without a ticket to get into that zone. So that possibly happened, but we won't speak about that too much.
It's always the top tips. It's always the top tips.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, kind of the other thing I wanted to speak about was Milan came to Dublin not so
Yeah.
long ago, the Shamrock Rovers match. I think it was COVID. You guys couldn't actually maybe go to the
Yeah,
match.
it was a bit of a shame. It was just over a year ago, actually. It was like 17th September last year.
Yeah,
And like the club were very good about it. Obviously there's not a lot that could have been done COVID, and especially at that time. When you're only like a few months in. So they came in and it was like qualifier for the Europa League against Rovers. It was out in Tallaght in Dublin. And we won 2-0. There was a Chananoglu goal, and I think Eber scored, maybe. But we did some like media stuff. Like the club sent out somebody from Rock Nation, out to us from Casa Milan, and they did like a full, like if you go on there, I think we probably have a pinned on Twitter. They did like a full thing with us. Like they were out with a day with us. We had a few drinks, and then they kind of got chatting about Milan and stuff like that. And it was the first time I'd ever seen a supporters club fully promoted on like the official Milan social media. So it was really cool to see.
yeah,
Obviously disappointed about the game. Like we went, stand outside the hotel, wave our flags around, welcome the team in. And then for the game, like we had, I think Mike was in the stadium. He did some like photography and stuff like that, and I think he might have done a bit of commentary. He managed to get like some videos and some pictures. And we may or may not have gotten a signed jersey of a certain player out of it. Maybe have to wait and see.
I kind of want to find out about that, but I'll keep my eyes peeled.
Yeah.
Of course, everyone listening or watching, go check Milan Club Dublin out across the socials and your website. I gotta say, I don't know who does the graphics in Dublin,
It's
but
Ricardo. Ricardo
unreal.
is his name. Yeah.
Yeah,
He keeps
incredible.
quiet. He keeps quiet. He
Yeah,
doesn't take as much credit as he should.
Yeah, it's unreal. What you said about the skull is actually like that's proper because it's become a real icon. I got to say, the second I see the skull with the hat and the beard, I immediately think of you guys. So smart. You're doing a good job, definitely.
Yeah, thanks very much. But yeah, no,
Yeah,
we like it. The graphics are fun to do. Like myself and Mike handles the Facebook and Instagram and stuff like that, and he would do some stuff there. I do Twitter, but we do mix around the graphics every now and then. Yeah, no, like to keep it fresh. I'm a big fan of the style that we have now. The little kind of like playing card thing works quite nice.
Yeah, I love it. Yeah, to move on to this current season. Obviously, we've been doing quite well over the last year and a half.
Yeah.
What are your views on the current side?
I'm happy, to be honest.
Yeah,
I know there was a lot of, and there always is talk pre-season about positions that need reinforcement and depth in certain areas. I know the right wing was a big topic of conversation online, and we got in, and then people were kind of like, we've lost Hakan, and whether that's good or bad now. And people like, we need number 10. Where's a number 10? And there was a lot of people really frustrated. And then it came out, and Pioli's like, we're not looking for a number 10 replacement.
Yeah.
And then we get into the season, and Brahim Diaz steps up as the number 10, despite his shortcomings, quite literally. No offense to him. He stepped up into the role, and all of a sudden, those frustrations go away. And it seems like it's been the same in other areas. Like, again, like the right wing, Salamakers has stepped up quite a lot this season. I know he's been a bit inconsistent at times, but he seems to have found his feet quite well now. And I don't know. I didn't get into that myself. I wasn't kind of like critical of the team going in. I was kind of like, let's see what happens. They surprised us last season. They can do it again this season, and they've done it. 7 games in, we still haven't lost. Just one draw. I think we're 19 points. I think we're about 8 points ahead of Juve. I think that's crazy to think this far in. Like, we're not even 10 games in, and we're 8 points ahead. And we're only 2 off Napoli, and obviously Napoli are off a blinder. They're doing pretty well. But I'm happy with this season so far. Like, there's so many players that have stepped up, and I would say there's certain players that have stepped back, that have been surprising.
Yeah, because I think if you look back to when was it? Probably January, when we had a few of those injuries, that like the team's depth was really exposed, and we did struggle for a patch, and it almost felt like we were dragging ourselves across the finish line there. And there was that little patch where we were almost like a bit nervous about missing that top four. Obviously, coming from the start of the season where we were thinking that the Scudetto could be a possibility. I think
we came out of it being winter champions, and then we again, as you were saying, we hit that patch. But even like towards the end of the season, it did come down quite late to it, and it could have been like I remember sitting there going like, okay, if this head-to-head goes this way and this way, and we might just get shuffled down even if we're on points. Like it was tight enough, you know.
Yeah, exactly. But I think this year's is a bit different, and you kind of touched on it, that these players like Leao and Calabria and Diaz, all of these players, Tonali, have lifted up, and we're not relying so much on those older heads, maybe like Zlatan. And Kier has been, I mean, he's amazing. He's probably almost my favorite player in the squad. But and then I think a few of the signings as well, particularly Magnan, coming in, and
he's been superb.
Exactly, and to be honest, who even cares that Gijo and Hakan have left? I really do not care.
Yeah, like I know people are like talk about the money lost and stuff like that, and like that's fine, but money lost is money lost. There's nothing we can do about that now. I know you can reflect on it and you can talk about the situation of, you know, Kessie coming up, who I personally think like he's had some good performances this season, but given the experience that he has with the team, he hasn't stepped up in the way that I want him to be honest. I'm a bit disappointed. He was great against Atalanta, but watching the game, it didn't come across as if he played well. I don't know. It's one of them things like you look at the statistics like, oh, pretty good game. I'm watching him. It didn't feel like him. It didn't feel up to his standard. But like what you're saying, like Gigio gone, Hakan gone. Like if Kessie is to leave, my only question would be, we know what happens if we don't get the renewal. Why not sell him in January? That's that's people's only real gripe. I think the money lost, but like we got our replacements. People have stepped up. Right. We're fine. Do you know?
Yeah. I guess for me, the only thing with Kessie leaving maybe is that it's probably not a great trend that our best players are leaving every time their contract comes up for a renewal.
To be fair, like it does seem, I think we're on the wrong end of the stick, but it seems to be happening elsewhere. And it seems to be the continuing trend. Players have realized they can get more money and they can get less hassle out of just letting contracts run down. And the agents know it the same, because the transfer fee might go away, but all that means to an agent is that money that was for the transfer, that's mine now. I'm having some of that. You know, like, so instead of like paying, I don't know, 100, 200 million for an Erling Haaland, all you're going to be doing is getting them on a free and paying a certain equivalent to the agent. You know, optically it doesn't look great, but I think it's a trend that we're going to see a lot more. I think it's just unfortunate that we're quick on the trend ourselves.
Yeah. In terms of the rest of the season going forward, what are your predictions? Are you predicting Scudetto? Are you predicting Champions League top four? Or I really hope you're not going to say anything lower than that.
I'm reluctant to say that I'm, you know, as they say at Milan Club Philly, I'm not fully on the Scudetto bus yet.
Yeah,
I'm not on the bus yet. I don't want to say it purely to jinx it. I'd be happy with second place. I'd be very happy with second place. Okay. Looking at the team on paper, and again, some of the concerns people would have voiced online, whether they go valid or invalid, I don't think I'd be upset if we came top three would do the job. Obviously, I want to get out. Would be fantastic. If we're in a similar position as last season, we're like winter champions and we're kind of still in the conversation come March, obviously be so happy, but like top three I do. I think in terms of stuff like Champions League, I know I've said this quite a lot. It's either get through the group stage or don't drop into the Europa League. I know it's a kind of thing, oh well, you have to get used to playing midweek and stuff like that. I agree, but also I would go we're out. Like if it meant finishing like dead last, you avoid Europa League, go on, do well in the get out, I would take it. But at the same time, it's that conflict of you do want to win all of the matches. Like even if it's a case of like comes down to the last game and we're against Liverpool and it's like a draw here would net us third rather than fourth. Even if I preferred fourth purely to avoid Europa, I'd still be like, no, get the draw, like get the win. So I don't know, top three, and do what we can in Champions League.
Yeah, I think I kind of agree that I think we're all kind of hooked on this, if you want to call it maybe sustainable Milan. That we've been committed for so long to this like steady progress that we're not. I don't think too many supporters at the moment are like dying for success. Obviously, we're very keen and passionate about it, but I think we just want to see a sustained model and not a return to, as I said before, the band.
But like at the same time, if it came down to like a strategic option of, if we do end up in the Europa League, or say if we get through in the Champions League, I would like to hear and see what people think about the prioritization. Because if people feel like, oh, we get through the Champions League, if we get into the last 16 and the draw looks good, how do you begin to prioritize things if you start to get a gap in Serie A, or you're kind of like, oh, we could kind of like have this? Same if it goes to for Coppa Italia, and I know the Coppa Italia mightn't be the most important thing to people, given we're back in the Champions League, but it's another piece of silverware, and that's always good. So I can't wait until we get into that stage. I just know the arguments online and like in person, like in the World Chat, are going to be brilliant. People are going to come up with some like back crazy stuff about how we need to, like if we got out of the group stage, there will be people saying we can't be playing any good players in Serie A. We need to focus on Champions League completely, and not like you're going to get some crazy stuff, and I can't wait to hear it. I actually live for some of the things people say, because obviously most of it's fine, people disagree, but like somebody comes out with like a crazy opinion, it's like brilliant. I love it.
Great.
We need to fluff this get out. Oh, fluff the Champions League. It's all about Coppa Italia. It's all about Coppa Italia.
Just get some silverware. It doesn't matter what it is.
Yeah.
I can't wait. Just I really can't wait until some of these Australian COVID restrictions ease, and a few of us can get over to somewhere, a game in Europe or possibly even Dublin, and get over to the Woolshed, because I've been so keen to join in the festivities at the Woolshed. It seems like the place to be if you're not in Milan to watch a Milan game. Anyway, thanks for coming on, Faye. It's as I said, we love Milan Club Dublin and everything about you guys. You guys are doing a fantastic job. As I said before, if you haven't already, check Milan Club Dublin out. Hit them up. They're the best blokes going around. So thanks for coming on.
Yeah, thanks for having us on, Luke. And hopefully, I know lockdown's tough over here. We had our time of it over here. And we've gotten through it. It'll be the same for you in Melbourne. And hopefully you're able to get out for a few points and watch a few games together soon.
I hope so. Yeah, it's what we live for. So to watch Milan and meet up with mates. So appreciate it. And as I said, hopefully it's not too far away. So Forza Milan, and hopefully speak to you again soon.
Absolutely. Cheers for having us.